Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics on Random. Egberto Will is your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. Well, how are we going to start? He is acquitted. But the main topic of the program today, well, we'll talk about that. But anyhow, he's been acquitted. And that he's been acquitted, it's a shame on the entire us all. Anyhow, Egberto, according to Michael Rudnin, asks, Egberto, how are you feeling after getting the COVID vaccine? After getting that first dosage, the first day, absolutely felt fine. Woke up the other day. I felt more tired than normal, but I don't know if that's the vaccine, given that I did a very hard spin that night. I did the heavy spin probably, I don't know, around 10, 11 o'clock at night. Went to bed, woke up a little bit hurting. I felt achy around the body, but I don't want to blame that on Moderna vaccine. I want to just say maybe I overdid it a little bit on the machine. But the arm where I injected it, it's a little sore, but that's about it. Nothing major at all. It felt fine. Bridge MCP say, hey all, you got vaccine. I finally got appointment in April. In April, I think, Bridge, you'll be able to get it before. Keep on trying with the CVS's, the Walgreens, and all the other guys. See if you can get on their list. I didn't do this. A friend of mine, good friends of mine, they were hitting the numbers for me because I have a particular issue with blood pressure that qualifies me as 1B. So I'm pretty sure that you can go ahead and hit CVS and all these others to get it before April. April seemed kind of like that's when we're going to have a flood of vaccines available for everybody to take, but you're likely able to get it before that. Good read for later. Let's see, from Pathios. Cancel culture. I'll go ahead and read it. I'm going to add that to my repertoire. Let me go ahead and add it to the tab here so that I can put it in and then check it out later. Okay, Michael Rudden said, I'm waiting for my doc to call me about vaccine availability, hopefully next month. Rudden, if you have a pre-existing condition or any kind of condition that meets the 1A or 1B criteria, you can actually call CVS yourself and all these others to make that appointment. Please do it if you will. We just don't know how this particular virus affects us. It can be different for anybody else. By the way, folks, the phones are open. I have the numbers on the line, on the screen. If you want to give us a call in as well to say something to me or say something to others, remember this is your show, please feel free to give us a call at, the number is 346-248-7799. Again, that number is 346, whoops, let me get it again, 346 248-7799. The ID code is, let me get the ID code. The ID code to get in is 254-600-9091. Let me go ahead and stick this in the, and you can also hit us up via Zoom. I'm going to stick that in there so that if anybody wants to do that, they can as well. So I stuck it in the Zoom as well. Okay, continuing. Let's see. Michael Rani says, replying to cancel culture. In nearly all cases about when someone says or does something that gets them excluded from polite society as a direct consequence of their action. There are a handful of exceptions, of course, but for the most part, cancel culture has been a positive shift in our society as it is pushing the values of equity and accountability. Bo of the fifth column has a follow-up for after the show. You guys have me with some important lessons. Like I say, one of the places that I learn quite a bit from is from the audience. Collective learning is always better than singularity. So I agree with you guys, folks. Okay, Egberto, why didn't the Democrats push for more witnesses' testimony? Because it wouldn't have changed anything, Michael. I mean, there's a fight on Daily Kos right now with people really giving the impeachment managers a hard time. I don't think we should. Look, all the evidence is out there. The nice thing about, not the nice thing, but the thing about this insurrection is it happened for everyone to see. The cameras are all there. The videos are all there. It's all for people to see. Moreover, all the information, all the data, all the speeches that Donald Trump pretty much says, encouraging these people to do things, meaning encouraging an insurrection, it's all there. You have to bend yourself in knots not to see it. So we have 43 senators that decided that was an insurrection. while we had 57 that believed it was insurrection. We have the majority of the American population who thinks the man should have been convicted. 60% of independents think he should be convicted. That the Senate didn't convict him, put in more witnesses out there, they would have found some sort of a wiggle room to get out of it. Why hold back the Biden agenda, creating a fight when we have a media that seems unable to chew gum and walk at the same time? So therefore, I am in 100% agreement that let's get this over with. He was impeached. 57, a majority of the people wanted him guilty. All of that is in the constitutional record. Moreover, we have inside of the record that when the minority leader called Donald Trump and say, "Hey, your guys are attacking us," his response was, "I guess they care more about it than you do." That says it all. So therefore, nothing needs to be said. The Senate is a corrupt institution. The Senate is something that has no value. So let's not worry about that. Anyhow, British MCP says, yeah, posted cancel culture. Okay, I think I saw that one, British. Beverly Green, welcome aboard. She says they knew how Republicans were going to vote, Edward. Yes, they did know how Republicans were going to vote. You are getting both vaccines. New York does not have enough. My county has almost 2 million people. That is going to be taken care of in the very near term. I mean, Moderna, I think I got authorization to put more. You see, people think about it's only the vaccine that's creating the problem. It's not only the vaccine, it's a vaccine delivery, meaning you have to have enough bottles to put the vials to put the vaccine in. You have to have enough of the syringes and all that kind of stuff. And so all of that have to tie in together. So that is the issue as well. Now they just got they're seeking permission to put, instead of 10 doses in a vial, 15 doses in a vial, which will really up the ante as far as how much can be done. So I think that's a good thing. Michael Rudden says he doesn't have pre-existing conditions, so he's at the bottom of the list. Sorry about that, my brother. Although that's good that you don't have pre-existing condition, but it does mean that you have to be much more intentional in taking care of yourself, sir. So please do. We would love to have you around here all of the times. My needs, a DB, actually 2 DBs. You cannot get appointment, no waiting list. Oh my God, sorry about that. Okay, insulin growing up. That's, folks, you know who that is, right? That is you know who. Bruce Pollard, power loss is hitting people in the backwoods. Yes, it is. Amazing, right? The same people that support the policies that all these crazies want to support are the ones that get hit first. Of course, we may get hit. We may get thrown off the air as I'm doing this. So in case we lose power, you know the reason why. But I have a Texas story to tell you. Michael Rundon, impeachment managers gave more than enough evidence. Absolutely so. Linda E., I am 68, diabetic, hypertensive, obese, breathing issues, and living in a senior low-income housing building. CVS wants Medicare info, but I don't have it. $, they say to go to the VA. That is the problem with when you have for-profit healthcare. They don't care about you. It is capital first. Linda E., that is a testimony. Those 3 sentences that you have there, that is your testimony to what's wrong with for-profit healthcare. You should be able to walk into that, and nobody has to ask any questions about paperwork. Paperwork is endangering your life. That is what our type of healthcare does to humanity. Bridge MCP, well, after he's acquitted, I pretty much lost both my sisters, so there's that. Well, don't worry about it, my friend. They'll be back. They'll be back. Okay. Linda E. says the VA is going by the stricter criteria, which puts me in as 1C. What? 1C is terrible. Okay. Egberto, this sound about right. It'll do. A clear majority of the Senate voted to condemn the former president as an insurrectionist against the United States by a 47-43 majority, enough convicted under the Constitution. It wasn't enough to formally disqualify Trump from ever again being in seeking office, but practically it will do as a solemn and eternal public repudiation of Trump's betrayal of his office. Exactly. I'm glad. We have to look at things the way they are, and you did just right. Breach says, I'm 63 with a heart condition. You are 1B, Breach. You are 1B, just like I am 1B. Dolores Colunga Stawit says, received both Pfizer vaccines. Last one was 2-6. Only side effects were sore arm and swollen lymph nodes under the left arm. I'm glad you're doing much better. Continuing. Later, nerds. Okay. I know all too well, Egberto, but for now, I wait. I know. I would love for you to, you should sometime call. Well, here's what I like to say. This is a program that belongs to us all, Politics Done Right. I like to feature real stories. Your story is real, Linda E. If at any time you would be interested in doing a video interview under Zoom, I would more than love to put your story out there in a collection of anybody who has a medical story that shows how evil our medical care system is, so that we can continue to put it out there. The best thing is stories that people can relate to, when they can put themselves in your shoe and say, that could be me. That could be me. When we do that, and I think we need to have hundreds of thousands, millions of those stories out there, because you know what, my brothers and sisters, they are out there to be told. They are out there to be told. Anyhow, folks, the impeachment trial, people wanted to give these guys a hard time, right? Chuck Todd tried to give El Señor Jamie a hard time. Thank you for thinking about it, Linda E. You have all my information. You can contact me and tell me yes at any time, and we'll feature you in one of our videos. We must have real stories where we get the people who are, who are willing. I know some people are shy, but believe me, when we sit down and talk together, it's just a conversation, and I guarantee you a conversation over Zoom with me is very comfortable, and you'll find it very, very easy. I promise you that. Okay, impeachment. Chuck Todd tried to make it seem as if the impeachment managers could have done something more and gotten a few more votes. I mean, get with the program. Let's play this, and then we'll take it on the other side. Jamie Raskin was effective in the way he discussed the impeachment with Jamie Raskin was Jamie Raskin said it all right in his interview with Chuck Todd. I want you to listen to this, then let's take it on the other side, because this is rather important.
Insurrection versus dereliction of duty. And I know you made a pretty compelling argument, I think, in your closing argument about how you couldn't disaggregate them. If it had been dereliction of duty, it looks like you might have gotten 2 or 3 others.
Remember, these are Republicans who voted to quit in the face of this mountain of unrefuted evidence. We're going to find some reason to do it. So if we had charged dereliction of duty, they would have said, that's not an impeachable offense. You got to deal with that within the military system. The president is not bound by the Code of Universal Military Justice and the Uniform Code of Military Justice and so on. I mean, you can always come up with a lawyer's argument to get to where you want to go. And they did not honestly confront the reality of what happened to America, which was Donald Trump incited a violent mob to attack the Congress of the United States. So you know what? We have no regrets at all. We left it totally out there on the floor of the U.S. Senate, and every senator knew exactly what happened. And just go back and listen to McConnell's speech. Everybody was convinced of the case we put forward, but, as the defense lawyer said, just pick any one of these phony constitutional defenses, and then you can justify it. It could be First Amendment. It could be Bill of Attainder. It could be due process. All of them are nonsense. I thought that I successfully demolished them at the trial. But, there's no reasoning with people who basically are, acting like members of a religious cult, and when they leave office should be selling flowers at Dulles Airport.
Raskin got it all right. Think about this. If we continue to let it be known that everyone knew, including McConnell, that Donald Trump was guilty, but it's because of cult-like behavior. A cult-like behavior, people who act as if Donald Trump is the leader of this cult, the leader of this church, and which they cannot go against. That's the only reason they tolerated this. That's the only reason he didn't get guilty. That's the only reason that they have put this country at risk. It is Trump over country. It is Trump over country, folks. It is Trump over country. But you know what? Before we go any further, I have a member that we have to really thank right this minute. Let's go ahead and put that up on the screen. We want to thank Gene Robbins. Gene Robbins just became a member of the independent media, our PDR posse. Welcome to Support Independent Media, Gene Robbins. Thank you so kindly. We simply could not do this without you. For those of you who are on YouTube right now, you can join Gene by just clicking on that YouTube, that join. If you're on YouTube, just click on that join button and you can become a member of the YouTube posse as well. If you're not there, if let's say you're on YouTube or Periscope or otherwise, you can also go to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. That is politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. Let's give El Señor Gene Robbins a big hand of applause and throw a message in there for him to say, welcome aboard our new brother in the PDR posse. Thank you so kindly for being here, Gene Robbins. Thank you so kindly. Anyhow, folks, anyhow. Vamos a continuar. Chuck Todd had another discussion, and this is where we always talk about the whataboutism, right? The whataboutism says you always try to be down the center and give the impression that things are. I tell you what, let's play this one here, and then we'll take it on the other side because it is important what was done here, and I want you to see what I'm talking about, and I think that's the one with the panelists. Here we go. We had an unpatriotic, seditious insurrection in this country. There was a coup attempt against the United States government. That is a fact. The fact that Donald Trump walked, the fact that Donald Trump was acquitted by 43 Republicans is a shame on this country. But we can't, as a people, ever forget how real this was, that people got killed, and that Donald Trump was holding back support for quelling that insurrection with likely an expectation that things would get out of hand. Important, and when I say important, I mean leaders, the head leaders in Congress would have gotten killed and given him the opportunity to create martial law or to declare martial law. That is likely the scenario that this criminal was attempting. We cannot, in reporting, make any mistakes as far as making it seem this was just a riot. This is just placé, that we are somehow, the American population, somehow guilty for carrying this out or not forcing these guys to pay. That's not true at all. And in that light, I want to play you a piece that really irked me on with Chuck Todd. But the good thing about it is a reporter, she had the immediately right response. Check this out. Let's take it on the other side.
Did we give a permission slip to our politics to be more violent by not holding anybody accountable for these actions yet?
I'm not entirely sure who you mean by we. I mean,
when
if
I
you're
say
talking
we,
about the Senate and the Republican Party,
so
far, essentially the only person who has, the only people who have sanctioned Trump in any way is Silicon Valley, right? The Justice Department, of course, is plowing ahead with investigations, opened up some 200 cases of people who were involved in the insurrection. NPR's investigation shows that a percentage of those people cited Trump specifically in their kind of motivations or suggestions about why they were doing what they were doing. This conversation isn't over. But I think it sounds like on this panel, I'm the person who is a little more pessimistic about what this means going forward for the Republican Party. I did not see some opening to the door of a grand revitalization or some change or Trump saying goodbye. What I see is a party that is clearly still in his thrall, lawmakers who are still fearful of him, and what that means going forward is quite serious.
Audie Cornish, NPR's Audie Cornish got it perfectly so. When Chuck Todd says, are we allowing more of this type of insurrection, this violent politics to occur? She said, wait, wait. What are you talking about, we? We're talking about 43 Republicans who let a criminal off, a former president that was a criminal off. We're talking about a Republican Party who is in a minority party who is intent on possibly doing harm to our democracy. This isn't we. Name the ones who are causing harm. Do not try to placate the insurrectionists or the enablers of the insurrectionists with the way we speak for some sort of a soft media-like tonality. That is not how it's done. That is not how we put to the American people the urgency with which we must attack what is occurring in this country, which is a fascist sect intent on getting their will by all means necessary. By all means necessary. So yeah, we can't allow these guys to change the conversation. We can allow them to, and I'm talking about the mainstream media as well. We cannot allow that. But before we get into the second subject, I want to let me go ahead and talk to some of you on here. Linda E, no, I didn't go back to the doctor for the minor aches that I had. I think that is what you're asking. So no, I didn't go back to the doctor. Let's see. Brief says my sister and friend after second shot had long reactions, but that's how you know it works. Yeah, I heard that. A friend last night told me, oh, be prepared to be off the second day after I take the second one. I hope not. I really hope not, but we'll see. Let's see. Michael Rudnan reminds us that Georgia is looking at prosecuting Donald Trump for attempting voter fraud in Georgia when he called up and said he needs how many thousand votes to make a difference. And, well, we know about all of that. Trump's going to have a big hill to climb. Trump's look. Let's be real here. Trump has less than there's 70-something million people that voted for him. After the insurrection, a percentage of that's going to drop off. Let's say 20% of that drops off, loses him 14,000. He still have a substantial base of people who, irrespective of what happens, going to vote for him, are going to support him or the candidates like him. 60 million or so. But we also have a drop-off that we have to be careful of in midterms. We did great in 2018. People were scared to death of Donald Trump, so they came out. They needed to get a backstop for Donald Trump in getting a Democratic House at least. Hopefully they wanted a Senate. They didn't. Now, after they got that, they came out in bigger droves. But because of a gerrymandered country, we couldn't get to win any more Senate seats than we had right now. What I want us to be cognizant of is that 2022 is going to be difficult. And it's going to be difficult because this stuff is not going to be over. We may start seeing an increase in the economy. We are going to start seeing, we'll have the virus under better control. It's not going away, but it's going to be under very good control. But we have gotten now a changed economy. A lot of people are not going to be working in buildings anymore because people have seen the efficiency of Zoom and the efficiency of their jobs out of the offices. A lot of people are not going to be going back to work because a lot of corporations are going to say, whoa, after all, we didn't really need them. So there are a lot of changes that are going to be built into the system that will create a new angst. And unless the Democratic Party, the Democratic government, Biden and these guys go full progressive into acknowledging these realities need government intervention to be a backstop for, Republicans will use an excuse of an incompetent Democratic Party to come back into power, and Americans will buy it. How do we know Americans will buy it? Because they've always bought it. They bought it with Reagan. They bought it with Bush 1. They bought it with Bush 2. They bought it with Trump. It is a look. When I came to America, I came to America in 1979. The bastion of freedom an America where people really studied, an America where people were getting better. They were going to school, they were getting civics, they were doing all these things. But the drop off started in 79 when we got here, a little before 79. So, little unbeknownst to myself, my little green eared young punk coming to the United States, I didn't know that we were starting our decline then. I didn't know that the Powell Manifesto was in full effect with the different foundations that are there to misinform you, to lie to you, so that you vote against your own interests, so that you got a Reagan that gave you the belief that somehow his economy was good for you. I didn't know all of that. When I learned all of that, that's when I started to write about that. That's when, so there are going to be a lot of things if we follow this centrist model of some sort of a false bipartisanship. Bipartisanship should never mean bipartisanship among senators, bipartisanship among Congress people. Bipartisanship should mean passing policies that when you poll Americans, they want. Okay, remember that again. Bipartisan does not mean that you get half the senators or that the senators agree with you from both parties, because their interests are the interests of the people they serve. We've done experiments where we show that most of what Americans want never get passed. Most of what lobbyists want get passed. If that is the case, why fight for bipartisanship as we know it, meaning between politicians? We fight for bipartisanship, in other words, by saying, what do most Americans want? The theory is that there's about 25% Democrats, 25% Republicans, and 50% independents. That number is a bit off. There are more Democrats than there are Republicans, but let's use those numbers. That means that 50% of Americans, right, follow something else and go with what they think is right and not having too strong an ideology. So let's get real. Let's get very, very real. Ask Americans what they want, Brother Biden. President Biden and Democratic Senate, Democratic Congress, ask Americans what they want. And then give Americans what they're asking for. That is not bipartisanship. That is multi-partisanship. Please remember that. Because if we fail, 2022 is going to be a slaughter between gerrymandering, between the party in power have a tendency of losing seats, even as the other party doesn't have much to offer, there would be a problem. So please, Biden, if you are listening, remember, support what most Americans want. And for those who don't want those things, as long as what you are proposing isn't unconstitutional, does not go against the Bill of Rights, majority rule. And most Americans want these policies that are going to support all those people that got displaced by the coronavirus. And remember this, the coronavirus are displacing a lot more than just the restaurants and otherwise, okay? It's changing jobs. And something other people don't realize. Okay, let's say 20 or 30% of the people that used to work in an office work at home. Guess who else suffer? Remember all the abarroterias. You remember all the little shops that used to sell the gasoline and the cookies and the chocolates and the potato chips to people going on their way to work? They gas up, they get the potato chips, they get this and that, and they go to work. That company no longer has that business. Remember all those restaurants around those offices that used to serve those people that went ahead and worked in these offices? Those businesses are depressed. We have to see that this coronavirus is a economy-changing event that won't just snap back. The big winners are those people who could stay in business all through it. The Amazons, the Walmarts, the HEBs. Those little mom and pop stores are not going to make it. So have policies designed to uplift these guys. These are community-based organizations. Give them the wherewithal that they have so that they can now serve the community that surrounds them with a lot more people working at home. maybe giving them not a stipend, but giving them investments into mobilizing themselves into food delivery, into all these other things. There are a lot of ways to do it. Pipeline workers, Eric asked about, not a problem. As long as if a pipeline worker loses a job because of a change in political policy, it should be the responsibility of the government to make that person whole. You see, that is where I differ from someone. People always think, leave it to the private sector. No. If we have a vested interest as Americans in not building a pipeline that had several people employed, those people that are unemployed, the government should make them whole. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. Just like what I believe with this pandemic. The best thing this government could have done is told restaurants and all these places, close. Go home, stay home. We will make you whole. We'll stop time for you. And when we get this coronavirus taken care of, we will start time again where it starts back, which means you won't owe all that back mortgage. You won't owe all that back rent. You won't owe all that back salary. You won't owe all that back insurance. That is how government works with the private sector in a humane manner. But the reason this isn't done is it costs more money in taxes to everyone as a whole to ensure security. We don't believe in collective security. We believe in security for those who can afford it only. And that is the inhumane, immoral nature of our economy. It's not rocket science to do what we're talking about. In fact, in Europe, many countries institute similar policies, both for health care, both for care of your kids, both all these things, because they think humanity first, and we build our businesses around that which makes a humane society. It's that simple. It's that simple. Eric Hayes, if not for big oil lobbyists, we'd have already passed the Green New Deal. That is my saying that. That is absolutely correct. Robert Reed says the Democrats have been less than trustworthy. The reason there is a whole third-party movement building is because Democrats have been failures. Look, I am going to tell you they've been failures, but they have been lesser failures than Republicans. But I can't sit down here in my right mind and argue with you, Robert Reed. How could I possibly do that? We don't have Medicare for all. We don't have anybody really talking about the Green New Deal look, there's a way that you can talk about these policies that would blow the Republicans away. There's a way to talk about it that would blow them away. Whenever they talk about Green New Deal, talk jobs. We don't do it. And the reason we don't do it is centrists don't really want these policies. Centrists are nothing more than Republicans as well. But we have to understand that. We have to understand that. Now, you say, so why did you vote for a centrist, Egberto? Because the centrists made some promises to the left. And so far, it seems like many of them are being fulfilled. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyhow, I'm getting past the middle of the show, and it's time for me to go ahead and say, folks, please, we need your support. How do you get your support? If you're on YouTube right now, you can join our posse, the PDR posse. Bridge MCP named it, the PDR posse, to support our program. Very inexpensive to help us out. Just click that join button on YouTube, become a member, and we can actually start going places. If you're not on YouTube right now, let's say you're on Facebook or anywhere, you can still join our posse by just going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. Alternatively, that screen that you see up there on the screen right now, it's our book, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors. I don't want you to excommunicate. I don't want you to excommunicate my right-wing brothers and sisters. I don't want you to excommunicate your right-wing families, etc. What I want you to do is engage them. And I don't mean engage them in a fractious or in a manner that creates arguments and discussion or creates bad feelings. You are the one who knows the material. You are the one who has to take the back seat. You are the one who has to do a lot of listening, but you are also the one who needs to know a lot. Because everything that they tell you, it is important that you can come back to them and give a plausible and correct answer, whether they believe it or not, but that you know it. And in knowing this, they will not just say, oh, I've seen the light. You will plant seeds because your seeds are fact-based. I know a lot of the Q guys will go ahead, oh, you're talking ridiculous, and that's fine. Accept that. Hold your ground, hold your humanity, hold your morality, hold your peace. Never lose your mind, never get excited, never let them know you love them no matter what. Let them know you're into them no matter what. But know the material and continue to engage them. What I ask people to do is get my book. As I see it, or rather, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Neighbors, Relatives, and Friends. And here's the link to get it on Amazon. You can also get it at our store. At our store, you actually cut out our middle person, meaning Amazon, where we can actually sell it directly to you, politicsdoneright.com/store. politicsdoneright.com/store. Alternative, you can also support us via Patreon. We need your patrons badly. You can call us or you can support us by going to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. We really need your support. You can also support us by going to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. If you're on YouTube as well, we have hoodies and all the stuff with our memorabilia. We have our bumper stickers, all of that. Anybody who buys our book online from our store, from the politicsdoneright.com/store, we send you a bumper sticker. And guess what? We also have a cup that was designed by one of our posse members, Brige MCP. And that's the cup that Brige MCP designed. It is all about who we are. We believe in we the people. And when we say we the people, we don't mean we the liberal people or we the progressive people or we the conservative people. We mean we the people. And Brige captured that perfectly with her design by having it on both sides, which I really love what she did. And that's why I told her, design it, I'll make the cup happen, and we did it. And that's a cup. Consider getting it. How do you get Brige MCP's cup to support Politics Done Right? There is the link that I just added to the store, or rather, I just added to the feed. You can go ahead and get the link that one of our members designed this because for that. Norman already got his piece, and there's Norman with his little cup. He's drinking from the cup himself. I just love doing that because it was like, wow, brother Norman decided to get the cup. Anyhow, folks, I'm going to continue with the program now, but we do need your support. So please, if you're on YouTube, click that join button, become a part of the posse. If you go ahead and become a part of the posse right now, just like I did with our newest member who joined today, Gene Robbins, you can join as well today. Gene Robbins just joined us during the show and was super, super duper very happy. Hey, Brige got her cup. Send me a copy with your picture so that I can put it on. Anyhow, let's continue with the program, my dear brothers and sisters. Here's Texas. Texas. I live in Texas. We are seeing a freeze that we have not ever seen, or that we hadn't seen in a very, very long time, probably since my inception to this country. And it's not going very well in Texas at all. It's not going very well in Texas. And I spent all night babying my pipes because the attic is not designed the right way for cold weather here. So I made sure to flow the water. I made sure to cover up the pipes on the outside. I made sure that the water was still flowing, flushed the toilets, and ran water. Got freezing water to show how frozen the water was, close to 0 centigrade. But anyhow, what started to happen now is we are losing power plants left and right. It's not the power lines that are dying that most people expected. The ice get on the power lines and they die. No, in Texas, our power plants, the privately held power plants, they cannot stay online. Even the nuclear power plant couldn't stay online. Even the power plants couldn't stay online. I want to play this report that was on ABC News, just a little snippet of it, and then I'll make my narrative a little bit better in a minute. But I want you to check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
There's a lot of people out here with that issue, and what's frustrating for so many people is that you hear from the officials, especially the state regulators, right? These are the policies and procedures they've put in place for years, for decades, and they know eventually a situation like this would come up. And they wonder, we often talk about how Texas, we live in the energy capital of the world. It is a state with a lot of resources, with an economy that generates more revenue than a number of countries. So they're wondering, how in that situation are we still without power?
We spend a lot of time deconstructing how in this situation we are still without power. Our Abbott, Greg Abbott, all these guys want the private sector to do everything. The way it works in this state, all these power generators are separate. They generate their own power and all that kind of stuff. Then the grid, they all manage the grid, and there's a government called ERCOT that manages how the grid is used, right? And then all these guys pump their energy onto the grid, and it's loosely regulated how all of this happens, right? But it's all private sector that produces electricity and sells the electricity. And then something in the middle delivers the electricity all around. Okay? That is how Texas works. Oh, yeah, and that's true. Texas has an issue with out of state and both sending and receiving power from out of state. That's a different story to tell. But for Texas, which is a self-contained grid, pretty much, Texas now has this issue that one freeze goes ahead and knocks a whole lot of plants offline. As Eric says, he must be reading new information. 24% of wind is gone. 43 natural gas power stations are down. Think about that. They knew this freeze was coming for a long time. These are private companies. And they always talk about the private sector does things better. That's a fallacy. The truth of the matter is the reason why we are down has little to do with this freeze and has everything to do with money, capital first, humanity last. Remember a few things that I want to talk to you about. Right now in the spot market, a megawatt, I think it's a megawatt, don't quote me on that, but a megawatt, I don't remember if that's the number, is going for $9,000. That is from probably a few tens of dollars to $9,000. So these guys have no incentive. The market has no incentive to have the supply, the oversupply, the overbuilt in, the security in these systems to build it out. Why don't they do that? Because it costs money. And they also know in times of shortages, they can make a ton of money. So who furnishes private sector power generation plants? Wall Street, investors. Why would you invest money in making yourself secure for a rainstorm, for a hurricane, and for a freeze that only occur 3 or 4 times a year? And during the 3 or 4 times a year that they occur, you can offset your gains by going to the stock market and selling power at a humongous rate if you are one of the lucky ones that don't have to be offline. It's a racket. You cannot, for essential services, healthcare, electricity, certain types of energy, it makes no sense to have a profit motive in those sectors. And the reason why is you build those sectors to maximize the amount of money you potentially can make. It is so important that we understand the fallacy of the private sector does things better. There's nothing better in the private sector than the public sector. Let's put it this way. If you're an engineer and you have to build a bridge, Are you going to build, are you going to design that bridge any differently if you work for the private sector or the public sector? No. You're going to follow the rules of engineering. Now, in the private sector, they may tell you, cut costs because we want to make more money for the shareholders. In the public sector, they may tell you, cut costs because the private sector who are paying taxes want to pay less. Where's the evil there? It's always on the side of the person trying to maximize their money. It's so important, my brothers and my sisters, to understand that. So the only solution to these types of problems is to have a bifurcated economy. You have the social side of your economy that takes care of the things people must have. And then you have the private sector, the things that, well, you know, let the market decide, right? You have your pizza shop, you have your bread maker, all these things will do fine in the private sector, because if for some one of them fail, who cares? But when the private sector fail massively, like they're failing in Texas right now, they are failing. There are 3.5 million Texans without electricity right now, and by tonight, likely I will have none, because we are expecting demand to spike to 70 megawatts, and guess what? We only have about 45 or 50 that's online to solve that. Because we can't keep the nuclear plant up, we can't keep the gas-fired plants up, and half of the wind turbines are frozen. Maybe we should have spoken to Denmark, who has wind turbines in the North Sea. Maybe we should stop thinking that we're so exceptional that we can't ask anybody who has experience for help. Maybe we should also start to say, if you want to keep power generation in the private sector, if you want to keep windmills in the private sector, maybe we should then start to ask the question, we need deep regulations to ensure that what Texans are having to go through today, the amount of Texans that will die today because they don't have electricity, then it will be the case. Eric says we need more solar. I think he's being facetious, but yes, we do. We need more solar with back in store, meaning more solar energy that can store that remainder in batteries and in what's called a back in store. So while the right may want to make that solar thing seem silly, it is they who are silly in not understanding science. Because the science is there for us to have 100% using hydro, using solar, using wind, using wave, using thermal. We have 5 different forms of energy. The thermal is on 100%. Hydro is on as long as we can keep climate in such a manner that those lakes remain filled. Solar is on most of the days in several places, and we can store that into dams as well. And wind is the one that is the most unreliable, likely, I would say, maybe as far as consistency, maybe wind, because again, wind blows or not blow. The solar, we know, comes up all of the times, but we know clouds intermittent. We understand those things. So it is important. It is important for us to understand the reality. Now, we know that Texas like to be braggadocious and Texas like to brag. Oh, we are the best. We have energy. We have all these things. And of course, they're failing royally. And guess what? The governor is starting to see what is about to happen, because tonight we're going to go down to temperatures we haven't seen in a while. And we don't have enough power guys online to do it. And here's the deal. The governor is running scared now. He comes out with a message. And what does that message say? Oh, we have 200,000 more coming online. Yeah, but how many are coming offline? Every single Texas Republican needs to be voted out of office for having an arcane electrical system that serves none and proves its weaknesses right now. So everybody who loves these guys that are running Austin, tell your family, your friends, your neighbors who are voting for Greg Abbott, who are voting for what's his name, the Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, who are voting for all these thugs. These thugs that don't want to accept the Medicare expansion for the Affordable Care Act, meaning they're killing Texans, remind them what they stand for. Remind them the pain that they feel. It doesn't matter that Austin is Democratic, who runs the state is Republican. All the leaders in Texas, the outright leaders in Texas are Republicans, sir. And they're following the Republican orthodoxy. And it's an orthodoxy that kills. Like it has killed over 2,300 Texans every year. Like it has killed all these people that are going to die today because of the lack of electricity, not because of some accident that we didn't know was happening, but because we did not put the regulations necessary to ensure this didn't happen. That is why a lot of people will die today. So let's get our act together, folks. Let's start voting our interests. Let's talk respectfully, civilly to all those who are continuing to put people into power that should not be there. Thank you for being here, Michael Rudnin, who says he's stepping away. It is important that we get there. It is important that we get here. We're getting close to the end of the show. Bridge MCP, welcome aboard. Michael Rudnin, Eric Hayes, welcome aboard. Linda E., welcome aboard. Bridge MCP, Carl Cox, welcome aboard. The countries of Northern Europe don't have crony capitalism, have rules and regulations that benefit everyone, not just for the top 10%, especially the top 1% in wealth, like in America. Very true, very true. Paul Fleming says when you get solar, you should also get a backup generator that still store electricity. Exactamente mucho. You have that right. Linda E. says they need better methods to store the energy that is created earlier in better times. Absolutely so. So continuing my welcome role here, I want to welcome Deborah John. Says, hello, Egberto. Despite all we know, no matter what, the Republican KKK clans was going to acquit Trump because we all part of the Capitol siege insurrection. But it's devastating to me that the Democratic Congress didn't put forward the evidence that members of senators, Congress are enablers. I think that was placed as well too, Bridge, but we'll have to talk about that at another time. Let's see who else is here. Welcoming all my great people that are here. Thank you guys I really appreciate you all being here. Hanef Tawheed, welcome aboard. I think it's Anif Tawheed, welcome aboard. Let's see who else is here. If I miss you, forgive me. I'm trying to go fast before the program ends. Para ver quién más está aquí. Okay, VQ. Willis is here too. Bridge MCP. All right. I know I missed a whole lot of you. Forgive me. I'm scrolling too fast, but I want to get to you. If I didn't call your name, just put a new message so I can drop down. Linda E., welcome aboard. I can fall down and salute you because I always like to tell all my great folks, welcome to Politics Done Right, because we couldn't have a show without you. We couldn't have a program without you. You are what makes this happen. Al Rose, Alejandro. Is this Alejandro, mi panameño favorito que vivió conmigo en Panamá? Dime si eres tú, Al Rose. I think that's Al Rose, my brother from Panama. Let's see. Hanif Tawid, will the power go out tonight? Whoa, not good. I think I'm going to lose power tonight. I have a generator, a gas generator, not the natural gas, because it looks like in Texas, a place where we have plentiful energy, even natural gas is a problem right now. Even natural gas in Texas is a problem right now. Miss regulation, miss everything. Paul Fleming, I don't know if I saluted you. If I didn't, welcome aboard. So folks, look, we're gonna be getting out of here, but we need to do one more pitch, and that is to say, please, if you are on YouTube, please hit that join button, become a member of the PDR Posse named by Bridge MCP. It's a way to support Politics Done Right. You can also go ahead and will you get your COVID-19? I already, Hanif Tawhid, I got my first COVID shot 3 days on Saturday. I get my other one 4 weeks from that Saturday. So yes, I got it. Minimal pain in the arm where I got it. I felt a little bit of tiredness, but I don't know if that's because I overdid my exercise or what, so I'm not sure. But yes, I'm not only getting the vaccine, I have already gotten the vaccine. PDR Posse, there you go. And consider the mug. Look at Bridge MCP mugs. It got in detail what we stand for. We the people. And not only that, both right, left, we want everybody as a part of our team. In fact, let me just tell you guys, there are quite a few people in our PDR posse that are Republicans. And in fact, we have a few that are right-wing Republicans. Most are progressives, of course, but I honor those that are here that decide that they want to be a member of this. I think we all learn together best we can. Anyhow, you can become a patron as well by going to politicsdoneright.com/patron, politicsdoneright.com/patron. You can also become support us via PayPal, either one time or many times. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. And don't forget, become a part of the YouTube posse by going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, the PDR posse that is, politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. And go to our store, check out all our stuff, the mugs, the hoodies, everything, politicsdoneright.com/store, politicsdoneright.com/store. Look, I know you guys could be anywhere. You have the option to be anywhere, and you're here with me. So I am honored, first of all. Before I say I'm honored, I need to salute one more person. One more person needs to salute. And his name is Gene Robbins, who became a member of our PDR posse today. He became a member of the PDR posse today. You mug with a mug. Rick Hayes, want to see you mug with a mug. Okay, I will. Okay, folks, let's go ahead now and tell you guys that I got to get out of here. I know you have places that you have the ability to go to and that you're here. It's an honor to me. Thank you so kindly. Oh, by the way, I do have a mug. I just don't have the posse yet, but here is the Politics Done Right mug. You want to see it better? This one, get this one as well. And so we have the mug. You know what? I lost my, what is it called? The face mask? Don't know where it's at. Went out there with a friend who called me and said, Egberto, you got to go see this. Dropped it somewhere in the trails. Anyhow, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.